every time I wake up the next day after saying something offensive, because I said something offensive at like 2 o'clock in the morning, I talked about Jewish people, I feel guilty. And the reality is, everyone I need to help me is Jewish. That's that's like 2% of the population, right? That's like almost half the Supreme Court. That's the Attorney General from Colorado, Phil Weiser. That's the Governor of Colorado, Phil Weiser. How many Jewish people have I met in Colorado total? 1. My brother's old business partner, he owned a dispensary with my brother before my brother got raided, and now my brother's not a partner with him. So all I'm saying is there aren't very many Jewish people here. Somehow the Attorney General and the Governor are Jewish, which the Governor won fair and square. He won an election, and a lot of the time Jewish people prefer to be like the chief of staff to a governor because they can't get the votes because they don't have the religious backing. Like, because they don't have them, they're such a small minority. They need Barack Obama to be in charge, but then they'll control his policy. So the director of the CIA is Jewish. The Department of Homeland Security is Jewish. Who else is Jewish? Inspector General for the Department of Justice. He is like, who can investigate the FBI? He's who can stop the FBI. And so he's also from Harvard, like Merrick Garland and everyone on the Supreme Court. Merrick Garland is the Attorney General of the United States. He could stop the corrupt police and the corrupt FBI. He's not going to stop them. I mean, clearly. If there's anything this guy knows is that they do not do legal search warrants at all. Like their whole, I'm talking about the feds. Actually, they do legal search warrants sometimes, but generally every search warrant they do nowadays is illegal. They do Patriot Act type warrants because, okay, when you have a warrant, what do you have to do? You go to a judge and the judge says, okay, tell me what specifically you're going to look for. Tell me specifically where you're going to search. Tell me, and I'm going to give you the warrant. And so the judge gives the police the warrant. The police go to the person. They say, I have a warrant to search your property. I have a warrant to search your car. That used to be the law. And then George Bush did the Patriot Act. And the Patriot Act allowed the government to fight terrorists. But even before the Patriot Act, were the cops illegally searching everyone? Okay, they will break into your house. And you'll know that you've been burglarized, and there's nothing you can do about it. For example, they broke my door. They broke into my house. They come into my house. I'm living upstairs. This is actually after I met a Jewish girl who told me that she got raided by the feds. She said that they interrogated her over a bust on a ranch that she used to go to. It wasn't her own property, and that's why they couldn't charge her. And so she tells me she got raided. The next day, and then her mom showed up at my house. Her mom showed up at my house it's a long story. And then the next day after her mom showed up at my house to talk to me and my parents, the police came and broke my door. They ripped the door handle off the door. They didn't take anything from my house. They just ripped the door handle off. It was for the sake of intimidation. But generally when they search you, they don't try to intimidate you. They just search you, and they don't actually give you a warrant. How many times in my life have I seen a warrant? 0 times. So when the FBI puts surveillance on you, so they want to surveil you because they have probable cause, they've got a warrant. What do they have to do? They have to renew that warrant every month or something like that through a judge. And the law is pretty clear that they can't keep this illegal surveillance on a person, or they can't keep the legal surveillance person. You can't legally surveil someone for an unlimited amount of time. The law is you really shouldn't, because the privacy issue, the Constitution is pretty clear, you have a right to privacy. All I'm saying is, I already forgot what I'm talking about. It's because you're a stoner. Not stoned. Brains are like that. All right, so all I'm saying is, now I remember, after they take their surveillance off you, say that they surveilled me from the age of 17 to 19, and then they decide to take the surveillance off me because they never busted me for anything. Do they have to tell me that they had surveillance on me? The law says they have to tell me that they had surveillance on me. I'm 35 years old. I've been telling you guys stories about when I was 14 getting beat up by cops that are 28 years old. beating the shit out of me. Don't even know who this guy is. Never met him in my life. Just starts wailing on me. This was when I ran away from home. So all I'm saying is the cops do not do legal warrants. Merrick Garland knows they don't do legal warrants. Merrick Garland's in charge right now, and what just happened? This woman, Merrick Garland's who charged her. Huh. Wow, the guy who loves the Constitution the most, right? Yeah, everyone's hero. Okay, this woman has a husband in jail. She tells her husband she wants to kill Kamala Harris, and the jail has her under surveillance. Or the jail has him under surveillance because he's in jail. She buys a gun and gets his concealed handgun carry permit. Now she's facing 5 years in prison because of a private conversation, because she had her First Amendment right to have a private conversation. No, she was making threats. Actually, she wasn't. She was having a private conversation. No, but Merrick Garland's in charge, and let's face it, how much does Merrick Garland love the Constitution? Very, 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 very little. And so when we talk about this group of Jewish people who are in charge of all this stuff, that they know each other. If we want to make sure that we can continue breaking the law, we need to have someone that's part of our group in charge of judge positions, in charge of the Department of Justice. And are some people that are in charge of the Department of Justice not Jewish? Clearly, a lot of them are Catholic. It's like, congratulations, you got crazy Catholic people in charge. But the Protestants get left out. And anybody who's raised white and Protestant, you tend to, I'm not anybody, but a lot of the time they're not part of the clique. And that's why that's why we have no one on the Supreme Court who's Protestant or atheist. Everyone's Jewish or Catholic. It's because they need people that will allow them to break the Constitution. And even though Americans think, okay, you can't just break the Constitution, you can if you have people in charge who will break the Constitution. And that's my big issue with these Jewish people who have managed to get so much power, and it's like they're like a clique. It's like everyone was in the Jewish fraternity at Harvard. You got Mark Zuckerberg on your side. Mark Zuckerberg will censor anyone. You've got all these powerful people, and then you're going, oh no, we're oppressed, but then you're oppressing Protestants or or people that you want to ruin, like people that you suspect of drug trafficking. So I've talked enough. I feel guilty. I feel like as a liberal person, if you say something racist, then you'll never have a relationship ever again. You've got to go marry a Republican, which means that you got to go marry someone who lacks common sense, which it's not about liking, but if they're a full-blown Republican, they lack common sense. If they are I believe everything that Republicans believe, they are hateful Christians. And if you're a Christian that's very pro-war, then you're not a Christian. So that's every time I do something racist, I'm like, no one's ever gonna like me that I'll like, because I don't like racist people. Well, at least I don't like super racist people. If someone's a little racist and they don't talk about it, I don't care. But if someone's overtly racist constantly, it's like when I went to Alabama and people were talking to me about niggers. I went to Louisiana and people were talking to me about the niggers. I didn't like it because it's super uncomfortable for me when someone starts talking to me about niggers, and I'm like, no one in Texas has ever talked to me about niggers. But yeah.